Hi, I'm Rudd Chia, the time traveler. Welcome to the pilot episode of Future from Fiction, where we explore sci-fi movies, books, or trends and compare them to innovations that exist or are close to existing. Not just innovations, but concepts that we could adapt that underpin key aspects of humanity. Since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to travel through time in my own time machine, and finally, I get to do it on my own virtual show, combining my two passions, innovation and sci-fi. I was also madly in love with Optimus Prime, the noble leader of the Autobots. And so you can understand my obsession with technology. I really do believe fiction makes the future. If you can imagine it, then it can happen. So today we're discussing my favorite sci-fi book, Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. The book was written in 2011. Most of you would be familiar with the movie, which was directed by Steven Spielberg. The poster's right here. This is what the book looks like, right? In case you don't know. For the uninitiated, here's the premise of Ready Player One. Huge spoiler alert. The year is 2045. Wade Watts, a teenage kid from Columbus, Ohio, lives in a futuristic world where everyone, young, old, rich and poor, spend vast amounts of time in virtual reality. This is to avoid the dystopian real world where poverty and despair run rampant as a result of global warming, greedy nations and leaders, and overpopulation. Wade's parents have died, and Wade is raised by his aunt in a housing system called the Stacks. Practically, as you can see on my left, camper vans stacked one on top of the other. The virtual world is called the Oasis. It's been created by super geek god James Halliday and his partner Ogden Morrow. What a cool name, Ogden Morrow. It started off as a gaming platform and eventually evolved into a massive global multiplayer online game and virtual society in which everyone has chosen to escape their real world problems. So James Halliday has died and he leaves his fortune of $500 billion and total ownership of the Oasis to the person who can complete 3 challenges in the Oasis, find the 3 keys that leads to the Easter egg. The finder of the Easter egg will inherit the fortune. So the movie is riddled with pop culture references, including my favorite, the Iron Giant and Gundam, and nostalgic movie references like DeLorean from Back to the Future. So while the movie focused on the gaming references, the book itself spends a great deal of time on the multi-planets, that is the Oasis. So the description's quite detailed. There are different plans where people work or go to school or go to be entertained or even embark in risky activities and buy illegal things. They earn virtual currency that has real-world consequences. Wade Watts, also known as Possible, describes the Oasis as a place where anything is possible and is only limited by the user's imagination. So my favorite quote, it's a Wade Watts quote from the movie: people go into the Oasis for all the things that they can do, and they stay for all the things that they can be. Which brings me to the first thing in terms of innovation that we can learn from the Oasis. So number 1, the Oasis is the education platform of the future. Whether he intended to or not, Ernest Cline created the most disruptive learning platform, the school of the future, in his books. How? Well, firstly, easy and equal access to education with a minimal entry price. That was the point of the Oasis. Wade gets on to the Oasis as a toddler because his mom had to feed his family, had to hold 2 part-time jobs within the Oasis, and she actually gave him the device to use it to babysit him. Sounds familiar, parents? The basic Oasis startup kit is a haptic glove to track movement, a VR visor to enable you to hear, see and speak inside the Oasis, and then of course there's the Oasis Control, a flat black rectangle the size of a paper bag to run the program. So the Oasis was a global virtual school, meaning the whole world was on it. So you could enter in speaking any language, but like Star Trek's Universal Translator, it got translated into a common language on the Oasis, so you could exchange ideas with people all over the world. A true democracy and diversity of ideas. It's immersive, meaning you are in a world where you aren't just being taught about supernova or gravity from a book of in a classroom. You are there watching it happen virtually, right? You are there at the formation of the universe, the Big Bang, and you could have Einstein's voice or even Einstein standing next to you, narrating it to you. It's learning by experience, it's contextual. The Oasis replaced the internet. That means it's the biggest public library providing free access to every book that has been written, every data that has been recorded up to that time, every song, every movie, every play, every video game, every piece of artwork, amusement, um, every bit of human history is now accessible in a simulated immersive reality environment. You don't have to research it on Google or go through books. You could just watch it on video or walk amidst it, right? Democracy is and power is given to the deserving, irrespective of their station in life. And that was such a big thing for James Halliday, which is why while there were people who were hacking the system and trying to buy upgrades and souped up devices, Halliday made sure that he littered the platform with random powerful stuff so that those who were skilled and knew where to look found them. So let's talk about VR technology today. Microsoft, Lenovo, and IBM are making headway in this. They are also focusing on education, which is great, but it's not quite as mature as what we see in Ready Player One. K-12 kids in the US are learning via VR and AR as a VR-based education helps in the areas of exposure therapy to sharpen their soft skills. So basically, kids who feel a bit awkward interacting with other people, in social situations, they go into a VR environment and they get to rehearse it first, build their confidence, then step out into the real world and interact, which I think is pretty great. And in fact, they have the same thing for adults, dating systems that allow people to go out and, have practice dates on VR so that when you go out to meet someone in real life, you're not so awkward. The Avantis learning system has got Class VR. It delivers virtual reality in education where kids from preschool to university level can go through their lessons as a VR experience. It's not quite as dynamic and as rich, but it's no Ready Player One basically. But it's definitely more fun for the kids than a book or a whiteboard or a teacher standing in front of your class and telling you turn to chapter 32. We're going to go through Ocean Life today, right? Here you are putting on your VR goggles. It's more like, okay, put on your VR goggles, kids, because we're going to walk through and experience Ocean Life today in virtual reality. Far more exciting. Now, I am jumping on very quickly to number 2. So what's the technology? What's the second one? It's that the Oasis beautifully captures the future of gaming and content consumption via VR. Apple is making Apple glasses after spending the last 10 years exploring, a video headset, a motion sensing virtual 3D interface for iOS devices, and 3D hyperreality displays. It's now come up with the Apple Glass. Woo-hoo! It's supposed to have a prescription version and a non-prescription version for the lens, and the non-prescription option they've suggested it starts at $499. Now let's move on to what's next. So Facebook has locked up an exclusive supply of smart glasses display, linking a deal with micro LED specialist Plessy that could one day put digital lenses in wearable computers. The small, low-power screens can replicate a smartphone interface as though it's floating in front of the wearer. Having ADHD, I can tell you the moment there's this big thing in front of me, no matter how real the experience is, my mind keeps constantly telling me it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. So half the fun is taken away. I know some people really are immersed just wearing the goggles and they feel it covers your entire face, but it doesn't work for me. So having glasses and making it feel like what I'm looking at right in front of me is this VR world, I think it's going to make the experience so much richer for people like me. What about contact lenses? So let's get even tinier. There are contact lens companies testing and prototyping lenses that let you have bionic eyes. Amongst them are Samsung and Sony. And what kind of stuff can you do with these? Well, you can zoom into stuff and zoom out of stuff. Is that my ex-girlfriend I'm spotting, right? What's she doing? She's moved on already so quickly. Okay, don't use it to stalk people, all right? I'm sorry about that. Taking photos in the blink of an eye. Scanning surfaces and identifying things. Oh, that's microscopic. I'm not even going to try, right? Okay, anyway, basically, it's a little bit like the Apple glasses plus more, with a bit of superpowers. Now, I'd like a pair if it came in color and enhanced the look of my eyes and how I saw things. I don't wear contact lenses, I don't wear glasses, I've got good eyesight, thank God. But anything that would make me look a little bit more futuristic, happy to go for it. Okay, Super Bean or Super Bien, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. But they've developed this incredible extended reality studio. So we've heard of VR, AR. Extended reality means it's a hybrid space where the best of two worlds coexist. Um, Basically, the physical and the digital. Using video game creation software, this environment has the ability to transport someone to a world that's between real and imaginary. So it tricks your mind, and you think that you're in this virtual world, but you're in a physical world, experiencing something virtual. And it helps that there's no VR goggle or AR screen, not even glasses, you're just walking in it. So it makes it feel a lot more immersive. It did remind me a lot of the Star Trek holodeck, where you can program the era or time you want to go to, the place that you want to go to on a holiday, and voila, you're there. And you know what? The holodeck readjusts so that your clothes and the way you're dressed, or at least the feel of what you're wearing, is matching the era. I think that's so cool. I mean, I'm a big costumes and costume drama and cinematography settings, attire, futuristic suits girl, right? So this kind of thing really, really excites me. Now imagine how handy something like this could be during COVID-19 when you can't leave your home. In fact, I think we should all have a holodeck at home. Enter our room and step into a vacation. Now, it's a great idea, right? If housing developers, hoteliers, they created, now that you can't really travel, domestic travel, and houses, if you could build with this in, ooh, I think it would be a bestseller. Right, number 3, the Oasis introduced us to the next level haptic suits. We started with touch activation, fingerprint technology, then we went to voice activation with Alexa and Siri, and now it's becoming multisensorial. All your 5 senses and a bit more. As we become one with the digital world, we will be developing new senses and sensations. Humanity is evolving as technology advances. Our physical bodies, the way we interact with the environment and around us, is evolving. In Ready Player one of the first things that Parzival did when he got the first key, which earned him a sweet 100,000 online coins, was by himself a high-end multisensory haptic suit that even made the happy places sensitive. So this is him dancing with his girlfriend, and as she does it in virtual world, he feels everything in real world. Lucky you, Parzival. Well, anyway, what's a haptic suit? Well, a suit that lets you feel physically what you are feeling virtually or experiencing online. Now, a little moment of education here, quick trivia moment. The word haptic originally comes from the Greek word haptistai, which means to touch. In tech term, it's used to describe displays, interfaces, and other materials that once you've tapped, touched, and grabbed, deliver a physical feeling to you. So that's what called a haptic feedback or a force feedback. Imagine developing new senses, allowing your physical body to taste, sense, feel what's happening in the real world. Disney lets you feel textures on screens with their tactile rendering 3D feature that's in prototype stage. The basic premise is that small electronic pulses can trick your fingers into perceiving bumps and textures, even if the surface is actually flat, like your iPad. And you know what's really interesting? So I was reading about this. Elon Musk's Neuralink, I'm sure you're familiar with it. If you're not, it allows our brains to connect with and think as fast as machines. So Elon Musk just revealed that music can now be delivered directly to our brain. I'll let that sink in for a few seconds. Do you know what that means? It means you don't need ears to hear anymore. It means that people with hearing impairment can now hear music. But hey, everything I've been talking about up to now has not been suits. Here are a few suits that I've seen. The first one is the Full Body Holosuit Pro, and it takes you close to science fiction with 36 sensor points, 9 haptic feedback devices. You can make a VR avatar or even a real world humanoid robot mirror your body movements. So there's no controller involved. You're just moving and they move like and with you, making the movement a lot more fluid. But this next one is my favorite one. Now, not just because of the name, it's called the Tesla suit. I love Nikola Tesla, and it has nothing to do with Tesla Motors. But this company has been developing a full body haptic enabled suit for some time. The suit mimics sensations you see in virtual reality and can provide all kinds of haptic feedback like shocks, bumps, and pressure thanks to 68 channels embedded into the suit that deliver the right electrical simulations. Now, there's also climate control built into the suit, which can change temperatures in real time. This means if you're cold and in a snowy setting in a VR environment, the Tesla suit will adapt so your skin feels cooler to mimic the conditions. Now, this got me thinking, if I were in a cold, freezing country and I were to wear the suit, do you think I could trick my brains to thinking I am warm and in a tropical country? Or can the system be hacked and injure you to make you feel like your own eyes are being scalded? And would that result in a physical injury? Okay, that's dark. Let's get on to more happier stuff. Now, the Tesla suit is highly intelligent. There's a biometric feedback system which will use machine learning to analyze your heart rate and how your body is responding to create a personalized experience. So this means basically, if the game's not challenging enough for you or you're not feeling excited enough, at a point you should be feeling excited, the up the ante. Or if they watch your behavior and they realize that you are one who loves a jump scare, they will build up the suspense slowly so that you get a jump scare. Now imagine wearing this during a horror movie. How exciting would that be? Oh god. Okay, haptic suits to me make a great fitness idea for gaming and gyms. Now imagine combining the two. When you're running in virtual reality, where do you run? Well, Wade ran on an omnidirectional treadmill. Catwalk C by Cat VR, which is right here next to me, is a China-based company that has built a smaller footprint virtual treadmill. So the treadmill's real, but when you're running on it, you're running in the virtual world. And you notice it's round, which means you can run in different directions. It can fit in any room while maintaining the open, non-restrictive design that allows for a full range of dynamic movement for your arms and legs. And it's on Kickstarter for $999 US. And if you want to buy me one, I would gladly take it and be grateful. My birthday is coming in September. You know, one of my dreams is to lose weight while lying in bed. While I'm thinking all the time. I've got one of those active brains that just needs to think. If I'm not doing this, I'm doing something else. So using my gray matter while wearing, some sort of a helmet or an outfit that tricks my brain into thinking my mental workout is actually an intense physical workout that causes me to increase my metabolism and burn calories. If you could build that for me, or if you know of a technology like that, now that's a moneymaker. If you're inventing such a device or know of such a device, drop me a note at the bottom. I would like to check it out. I might want to invest in it, or I'll be happy to be the guinea pig. Okay, so we've come to the end of my show, and I think someone should do a series on Ready Player One based on the book, because it's packed with so much innovation, wonder, and philosophical ideologies that's going to really benefit our future. And there's so many other texts. I just had no time to talk about it. So we're out of time. My machine is out of time traveling crystals. I hope you enjoyed this webisode. Do subscribe, give me a thumbs up, Leave your comments on which innovation resonated with you and share this video on your social media. So on the next webisode, we are discussing space, the final frontier, how Star Trek sets the foundation and ideology for equality and uniting the human race. So look out for that, and thanks for watching.